I'm HanaKyle. I'm the founder of the Body Hotline and 5-Minute Movement, and I'm here to take you through a little series I call Wall Ball. So you can use a tennis ball, a lacrosse ball, or maybe you have one of those bouncy balls from a drugstore vending machine. So you can also use a golf ball. Find what works for you. Find a wall where there's nothing going on, and you're going to stand. Before we get into the self-massage portion, we're just going to do a forward fold. So stand tall, drop your chin towards your chest, bend your knees a little bit, and roll forward as far as you can or would like to go. And as you go forward, see how it feels. See where you feel tightness, see where you feel restriction, see where you feel your torso want to move or not want to move. Bend your knees a little more and roll back up, bringing your hips over your heels and then your ribs over your hips. And shoulders and head arrive. So now you've done that little bit of an assessment, and then we'll take the ball and put it behind one side. All right, so move your feet a little bit away from the wall so you have that leverage to lean into the ball. And you can bend your knees to go up and down a little bit. And you can roll side to side and feel the ball rock over your muscles. There might be a little bit of a flippy feeling, and that's okay. It's tight muscles. We're here for that. Try not to roll on your spine. We're staying just on one side, so you're going between your shoulder blade and your spine. And then when you've gone a little bit in that spot, spend maybe 20 seconds per spot. Lean forward a little, roll down. You're using as much pressure as feels good to you. There tends to be a hurts so good type of sensation when it comes to massage, and it's really up to you. And you might work differently on different days. You don't want to cause bruising. That's too much. There's a little bit of letting the body know that this ball as an intruder is safe and welcome. So taking deeper or slower breaths can communicate that to the body. And while you're working to the inside of your shoulder blade, you can take that same side arm. So I'm working on my right side, I'm taking my right arm across my body, and then hold that arm with your other hand. So now the right arm is not doing anything. No muscular effort. What happens when you move your arm across your body is that your shoulder blade moves to the side a little bit, moves away from your spine, and suddenly you have a sort of new area to roll on. And hopefully that feels good, or maybe it feels surprising. And then when you're done with that, you can let your arm hang down by your side again, moving down an inch or 3 to the lower corner of the shoulder blade, working between the shoulder blade and the spine. Now, along the spine, there's a set of 6 muscles running on either side. Those muscles are called erector spinae. That's the group of muscles. And they are what holds our spine vertical all day, every day. So we got to give them a little care. Now when I get a little lower, sometimes I slip my other hand behind my back and use that to adjust where the ball is. And if you drop the ball, it's no big deal. As you get to the lower part of your ribs, you might find that you roll a little more to turn. Follow the shape of your ribs. Just so you know, your kidneys are under your ribs, so you're not at risk of pressing on your kidneys. Not only are they under your ribs and protected by your ribs, which is an incredible design element, they're so important, and they're protected. They're also protected by fat. So they're cushioned and they're protected. So if you're working on some muscles in your low back, like me, no worries. Press in an amount that feels good to you. Now, so far we've been moving kind of quickly, sort of wiggling the whole time. And I want to give you this opportunity to lean. Pick a spot that feels good and lean, which is a technique you could apply all the way down your back. and see what happens if you just lean. Now, one thing you might feel is like a little twitching in your muscle. You also might not feel anything. If the muscles are really tight, they're really tight. I'm getting into my low back now, sort of the space between my ribs and hips. And I find that when I do that, I'm gonna stand on my opposite side foot. So I'm massaging my right side, but standing mostly on my left leg. And my the whole right side of my body, I'm trying to let it relax. And I'm playing with angles. So you can absolutely experiment with what helps you get into your low back area best. And then if you want to get into more of your hips, your glutes, you can always do that. I'm holding my arms out of the way so you can see a little bit more of the ball. You can even go onto the side of your hips. Totally feasible. All right. Again, I could do this all day, but we got to do the other side too. So before we switch sides, let's roll down. Stand on both feet, drop your chin to your chest, slowly with a little knee bend, roll down to the floor. Note how it feels on the side of your back that you just massaged. And slowly roll back up. At the bottom, you might also notice a difference between your legs and the way the stretch feels in the back of your legs. If you want to roll down one more time to check that out, go for it. Okay, I'm going to get started on the other side. You take your time. So people come to me often with upper shoulder, upper back, upper neck, whole neck discomfort. And I find that we can't quite get onto the very top of the shoulder, but we can get behind the very top of the shoulder. So if you walk your feet a little further away from the wall and you find some angle, you can kind of get in to that stuff that feels tight. And then if you drop the ball, it's all good. Pick it back up. So I'm gonna see about addressing my upper back here. Side to side and up and down. And then bringing it down a little bit, getting into the inner shoulder blade. I really like to use the knee bend technique to move up and down because then I can cover a couple inches without having to adjust. So now I'm going side to side, but also bending my knees as I go. You're welcome to try this or do what feels good to you, because you will find your own technique for wall ball. This is just a structure to start with. To the inside of the shoulder blade, take that arm across your body and hold it so it doesn't have to do any work. See what you can get into. Pause if you want. Sometimes when I pause and apply pressure, the sensation radiates in a certain direction, up or down or out into my arm. And that's pretty normal for muscles. After all, there's a lot of connections. Continue to work down your spine. Well, down your torso. Not on your spine, but next to your spine. Notice if you tend to hang your head, that might be helping a stretch, which is totally fine. But also pick it up. Look side to side. Still be in the room that you are in while you're creating this change. Note if this side is any different. We absolutely have differences side to side in our body, whether it's because we're carrying a smaller person or a bag. And we get into habits. It's easier to carry something on one side than the other for pretty much everyone. So as much as we can, practice switching sides. Easier said than done, but with practice, you can get used to it, train those muscles to support you no matter what. So at some point I do start using my hand to adjust the ball. I'm getting into my lower ribs at this point. So there's the ball. A little side to side, a little up and down. This side is tighter on me. Could be the way I sleep, could be the way I sit. So many factors go into how our body tightens up, and this work is really relevant to releasing our muscles. So they're made to tighten, and they tighten and they tighten and they tighten, but at some point they can't go any further and they have to let go. And we have to encourage that letting go because it's not built in. Built in is the action of contracting, and then releasing is a result of not doing anything. But sometimes we've just trained our muscles to contract and contract and contract, so then we have to start training them to release. And this is one way to do that. If you're interested in more ways to do that, well, there's yoga, there's yin. Yin yoga is a great way to do that. Getting a massage, if that's something you can do. Feel free to get in touch with me for more. Okay, I'm getting into my low back now, right here in that curve between my ribs and my hips. And I'm gonna stand on the leg that I'm not massaging that side. I'm gonna let the other side hang down and find diagonals that work for me. And mostly you can just hear me sliding back and forth against the wall. And then maybe you find a spot and you just lean and you stay and you see if your muscle will respond to that. So sometimes there's a little twitching, sometimes there's just a release, sometimes there's warmth. One thing we're doing as we apply pressure and apply friction by going side to side or up and down is we're melting those muscles. Those two movements create heat, and that's how muscles, another way that muscles and the tissues of our bodies relax. So if you did a little hip stuff on the other side, now's your chance to do it on this side. We're gonna do one more forward fold before we are done. All right, stand tall, bend your knees a little bit, roll forward. Notice how it feels. Check in with the backs of your legs, bend your knees a little more and then come back up. Stand tall, look around, move your shoulders a little, see how you feel. Hopefully that felt like a bit of a release. I'm HanaKyle. You can find me at hanakyle.com or 5minutemovement.com. And I hope this was useful for you. If you have any questions or want to investigate further, feel free to get in touch.